Hello, Christians of the world. I'm Adam Chris Kane, and today is your Wednesday message. So, I'm just gonna speak freely on this one without any sort of like guideline. I don't have any scriptures prepared. I don't think I need any. So, are we headed into World War III? Is World War III coming? I don't think so. Regardless of what you think about President Trump and the attacks on the nuclear facilities, the bombings, I don't think World War III is coming. We are the United States of America. We have the greatest army in all of the world. No one can touch us. China is not going to join up with Russia. Why? Because they need us. We are their main source of income. Everything is made in China. Okay? All these small countries. Right? China needs us for their economy. Okay? Without us, their economy goes to crap. Okay? And know that that's not a curse word. It's okay to say crap. Just not okay to say the S word. Which I try to abstain from saying, but it slips through sometimes. I don't mean to say it, but it's a habit. But I don't think God's going to judge me because of a few little curse words. I trust in God that I'm forgiven of my sins, and that God understands that some things are hard habits to break. Not that I'm condoning cursing in any way or justifying myself. I only want to justify the Lord and to honor and glorify the Lord, and not to justify myself in any way. I only justify myself or things I say by the Bible's words. So, and either the Bible's words justify my actions or they condemn me. And if I'm wrong, then I should be condemned according to the Bible's words. If I am being judged righteously according to God's word, the scripture talks about judging righteously. Anyway, I'm going off on a tangent here, so let's bring it back in. So, all you people worrying about World War III and, first of all, stop watching the news that's trying to scare you into thinking there's going to be World War III. That's how they keep you glued to the screen. You're all just drones. Or not drones, like robots, I should say. You're all robots. You're just eating it up. You're feeding into the fear. You're feeding into all these fake stories that they're feeding you. And I'm not just talking about liberal media. I'm talking about all kinds of media. Because all the media has a purpose. All media has a purpose. What is the purpose of Fox News? To promote the Republican Party. To get people to vote Republican. To make the Democrats make them out to be the evil people and the wrongdoers, and to judge everything they do and criticize everything they do. Make them out to be the bad guys. Call them liars, call their liberal news stations fake news, and tell everyone that people have Trump derangement syndrome, as they say, right? Now, you think that because you're Republican, and because you trust the word of a news station, whether they be Democrat or Republican, whose ultimate goal is to keep your eyes glued to the screen so they can sell you products on commercials. They can shove the Republican agenda down your throat, and you'll just accept and believe whatever they say, just as the Democrats do. And neither of those news sources care about the truth. They care about their views. It's all about public opinion, right? Because as soon as public opinion changes, so does the opinions of the news stations. Am I wrong? I don't believe any of the news stations. Are there some news stations out there that are telling some truth? Yes, of course. But I think most of them have an agenda. And that's why I don't watch the news, because I believe they're all hypocrites. What's that saying? The pot calling the kettle black or something like that. They're all hypocrites, because Republicans and Democrats judge each other for the same things. Right? So we know that 4 Americans were killed, unfortunately, in this bombing, which is very unfortunate, and we don't want to see that. But we don't see any of the Republicans condemning any of the Trump elected leaders and officials for the killing of these 4 gentlemen. Yet, you can't tell me, if you're a Republican, that if this had happened under Biden's administration, that you wouldn't have been condemning it. Just like you condemned Biden for forcing the military out of Iraq and all the American citizens to leave within 100 days. Heavily condemned him for that. But when it happens on President Trump's watch, under his command, not a peep, not a word, not nothing. And the real truth is that many of you Christians out there know that's how it is, but you pretend this is not true because you're not objective. Because all you want to do is change my opinion and other people's opinions, change the public opinion, and make people vote Republican. So whatever you have to do to convince them to vote Republican, that's what you do. Why? Because you're a pawn. When you're constantly defending the Democratic Party, trying to get people to vote Democrat, you're a pawn for them. Just like you're a pawn for the Republicans. Either way, you are being used. These politicians don't give 2 cents about you. They only care about what you care about because they need your vote. And every American in America knows that. Okay? So why are you sitting here defending politicians that are doing things that are evil and wrong, that you know are wrong, and defending these people when you wouldn't defend them on the other side? Why? Calling yourself, saying, "Oh, I'm not a hypocrite." The truth is, you like being lied to. Why do you watch Fox News? Because you believe they're telling you the truth and you like what you're hearing. What if they started saying stuff you didn't like? What if they didn't always condemn the Democrats or bash the Democrats? What if, it was like kind of split in the middle somewhere? Like sometimes they would give credit to the Democrats or they would defend them. And other times they would defend the Republicans and condemn the Democrats. But it was kind of like middle of the road. Would you want to watch it? If it wasn't a news channel that heavily attacked the Democrats and called them liars and, all these things, and everything was, anti-Democrat. If everything wasn't anti-Democrat, would you want to watch it? If it was actually like balanced news? Think about it. How can one news station always be right? They're always telling you the truth. They don't cherry pick anything. They don't leave stuff out. Right? They don't, not talk about certain things that wouldn't be interesting to their viewers. Right? Anything that's bad publicity for the Democrat or the Republican Party, whatever news station is reporting on that, if they're liberal or they're conservative, they're going to leave the bad stuff out. They're going to leave out the stuff that reflects poorly upon their leaders. Why? Because people don't want to hear that, their party's screwed up. They don't want to hear that. They don't want to hear that their leaders are bad politicians. No. They want to hear that their Republican politicians are doing everything they can to fight the evil Democrats and vice versa, and they're doing everything in their power to protect your rights as an American citizen. And they're doing this because, they really care about you and, because they share your Christian values and, they're Christian just like you. Yeah. I know it's a harsh thing to say, but how many politicians do you think are actually getting into heaven? I wonder what things they've done that you don't even know about. You only see what the news lets you see. What you see when they're in front of a camera. Because soon as the politician's not up for re-election, what do? They completely abandon Trump. They start, they completely do a 180 spin around. And, they're condemning him. Right? They completely flip-flop. Right? As soon as that, as soon as they don't have to put on the game face, for their constituents, for the conservative citizens and the Democratic citizens, then they can just say what they really feel, and they don't have to worry about it because, hey, they're not going to be getting reelected. Now, you're not going to tell me that they weren't doing all that stuff just to get your vote? And you don't care if they do that. You know why? Because they serve their purpose. They did what you wanted them to do. You got your use out of them. They passed their, they helped get policies passed, into law that you wanted. Right? You're using them as a pawn. Right? You're saying to them, oh, I'm not going to vote for you unless you do exactly what I want. Now, of course, you might say, well, of course I want them to do what I want. They're my politicians. I voted for them to do, what I want. Right? But everyone thinks what's in the best interest of America is to do what they want. How many of you don't believe that the best interest for the Americans is for politicians to pass the laws that you think are good laws, do the things that you think are good, do the things that you think are good for this country, good for America? So you're saying, hey, what I want you to do, what laws I want you to pass, that's what's in the best interest of the American people. What I say. Whatever will help me. You really think that these politicians are doing these things because it's in the best interest of the American people? No, it's in the best interest of their pockets. To keep them in the Senate House, to keep them having power. That's what it's in the best interest of. It's for their own benefit, not for you. Right? Now, what does God teach us in the Bible? What does He say? Are we supposed to be doing things, for our own personal gain? No. Right? Are we supposed to be doing things for publicity, for power? No. That's why I can't be a politician, because I have to shake too many dirty hands. You can't have an honest politician, because honest politicians don't get voted in. No one's funding a politician that is honest. No one's funding a middle-of-the-road, independent politician. You either have to be heavily on one side or heavily on the other side. You either have to be, all the way Republican. Yeah, you have your middle-of-the-road Republicans, your progressives. Okay? But those are rare. If you want to get elected, you have to follow the standard narrative of your elected party. You have to do all the talking. If you're a Republican, pro-life, protecting your rights, the Democrats are evil, right? If you're a Democrat, abortion, right? What else? Support gay people, transgenders, all those things. And you know what? You buy it into, you eat it all up. All of it. For what? Why is this stuff why is that so important? I understand you want to protect your rights as a Christian. What does the Bible say? When Jesus was talking to Satan, and Jesus gave Satan the authority to test Job, right? He gave them authority to test Job. What did he say? But you cannot touch a single hair on his head. You cannot harm him in any way. You couldn't touch him. So you think that any kind of World War III is going to affect you, that you're not protected, you're stressing out about nothing. Okay? You're stressing out about nothing. You do not need to worry about World War III. It ain't coming yet. Maybe sometime in the future. I hope not, obviously. But there's nothing for you to be afraid of. There's no reason for you to stress or to worry. Right? What does the Bible say? Why do you worry about the troubles of tomorrow? You have enough troubles today. Worry about your troubles today, not about the troubles tomorrow. Focus on God. Does God not protect you? Can Satan lay a finger on your hair? No, he can't. No, he can't. So, you just go and live in your life, praising God, thanking Him for all your many blessings, and pretend like nothing happened. Because you're blessed, and your life is good. I know maybe there's a lot of people struggling out there right now, and you're feeling it. Maybe you're feeling, the hurt. But listen, the answer to your prayer is just around the corner. But you gotta believe. You have to believe. You have to have full faith in God. That even when times get hard, the answer is coming. Because God always answers your prayers. Ask and you shall receive, according to His will. Does He deny the birds food that they need? Does He deny the worms? Jesus said on the Sermon on the Mount, do the birds have food to eat, even though they do not tarry? They don't work for the food. They're not working in the fields, but He provides for them. So, Jesus will provide. You are safe. There's no World War III. Okay? Because no one's going to mess with us. We're the United States of A. The United States of America. No one's messing with us. Don't worry. There's not a World War III. You just walk around with a big smile on your face. And when people ask you why you're so happy, you say, because I got Jesus. That's it for today's message. If you enjoyed, please give it a like, subscribe, or a follow. And may the grace of our Lord be with you. I will see you guys in the next video. God bless.